means that after a couple of shots, they may even lose 2 members. Not only because it heals them, but also because it recharges the abilities of the PE vehicles. And if you have played as PE anytime, you would know that those PE vehicles have a lot of abilities. A lot of them have a lot of abilities. So yeah, there you go. Some regions on the field, probably to counter the armored cars. And we see some bazookas missing horribly. And that armored car will be safe, will be going to the west, most probably gonna flank the American player from that direction. Or maybe he'll just stay there because for fear of mines being around, avoiding the ranger fire. And we have a tactics indication by the B player, and that is Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth, of course, kind of underused, I would say, overall, but nevertheless quite strong. B players, nope. Just Pigrens hitting a mine by the central victory point once again, retreating quite quickly. Now some more G43 action by that Hables, by those Hables, and this time the rifleman squads are not only are kind of outnumbered and will have to retreat rather shortly. However, they did manage to kill a Pigren squad in the meantime, and now they are backed up by some more riflemen and the rangers that seem to have fired up as well in order in an attempt to catch the armor car off guard, but that did not seem to be the case. The armor car promptly retreats. It's gonna get repaired in the P player's base, and now we have a light 80 half track out of the Panzer support command building of the P player. Light 80 half track, I'm not sure why he would get that, or she, as I have been saying all game. Probably as a counter to some allied vehicles, but you can also use the focused firing ability on some high value squads such as rangers or some potential snipers, although there's no indication of the American player taking up to a weapon support center up to now, because I really think that now that we have come to the 14 minute 25, 26, 27 minute mark, the American player, should he want, or she, I'm not sure anymore, for any player to go for a weapon support center, we would have seen some indication of it, some early sniper, that is. But that does not seem to be the case. The Rangers have been upgraded to those Thompsons, but the armor car and the 2 G43s on those Pigrens are more than enough to make them retreat. Kind of a G43 spam bar P player here. We have at least, no, actually all Pigren squads are equipped with G43s. Some sneaky booby traps being planted in the buildings, which is good to see, although, this particular map, not that many buildings in for you to use booby traps on, but still, those that do exist, it's good to use them once in a while. The American force all healed up and ready to fight the PE once again. Map control wise, for most of the part, for most part of the game, I would say it's kind of split between our two players, so that's kind of cool to see. And victory point wise, not an unusual situation. 462 victory points for our P player, 380 for our American player. Focused firing being used by the light 80 half track, targeting some riflemen. I'm not so sure about that. I would target the rangers, but now it does change targets indeed, and some of the rangers do go down too. Nonetheless, some booby traps going off in the nearby victory point. Now our American player seems to have been trying to force the B player into a my blob beats your blob situation, but the B player was more than ready for it. The combination of the focused fire of the light AT half-track, the nearby vetted this time big ground squads with G43 as well as the Puma were more than enough to fend off that attack by the American player. And a thing that I noticed in that previous engagement, the American player tried to move to the north, traveling through open cover for quite a while, and I'm not sure why he just didn't move head-on towards the light AT half-track, the Puma and the Pigrins. Take that green cover, retreat the squads that could take the losses in his attempt to do so, but stay there with the ones that would make it, that would survive the charge. Anyway, some power drain, that's what I'm saying. He actually had to suffer a manpower drain that was not necessary. Once again, American player makes his way to the center of the map. Light AT half-track seems to have been using focused fire. No, it's not the case although I'm not sure. It's kind of a mayhem in there. We have a rifleman squad going down to the focused fire of the Pigrins, and who subsequently retreat back to their base. So that was a loss that was not necessary for our American player, who seems to be getting kind of frustrated and trying to push head-on with the bunch of his forces, not taking into account the fact that focus firing by G43s can be painful to deal with. Light AT half-track into the American player's base, and we have some more artillery on the B base by the American player. Indication, of course, that his commander is infantry, but that particular artillery was highly ineffective. It does hit, the light AT half-track with the last shell, but that is all. In the meantime, I did not mention that our American player has built an observation post to the westmost fuel point. It's kind of odd, considering that he is not fielding any vehicles at the moment, or but maybe it was a long-term investment, since he's now building his tank depot. He has researched the supply yard level 1 upgrade, which is not only it's going to help him manpower wise, but it's also going to give him veterancy bonuses. Once again, Rifleman squad does go down to the fire of 4 Pigrins and a light AT half-track, and the artillery strike that the US player used on that bunch of the P forces did not exactly seem to be working as good as he would like, because as we all know, the counter to to blobs of infantry is not artillery strikes, it's most probably strafe. And that is why I'm surprised that the American player was not using airborne as a commander, but most probably that is because of the early armor car and his lack of AT when that armored car hit the field, which translates that he needed rangers. That's why he picked the infantry, I guess. That's my guess, at least. Some more losses for our American player in the center of the map. He loses an engineer squad to the fire of the armored car. Rangers and riflemen are still nearby. Are gonna open some fire on the armored car. It's gonna take more than that for the armored car to go down, while in the meantime our P player reaches the increased squad size for his Pigrins. Now They are up to 4 members, and they can be quite deadly against the American infantry, given that 4 out of the 5 big run squads have the G43 upgrade. However, G43s are gonna be are gonna be doing nothing against the M4 Sherman tank that just hit the field for our US player, and that is now making its way to the west of the map. And at this moment, given the tactics choice by our P player, I'd say that he will have to rely on murders in order to take on that M4 Sherman tank, or some Panzer Shreks, but most of his troops have already been upgraded with other weapons, either them being G43s or the MP44s. So there you go. A Sherman tank and an M-tank, and an M10 tank destroyer on the field that need to be quickly addressed by our P player, and they're gonna be, the most troublesome unit of the American player's army for him in the next minutes. Time for a time sync then, since I mentioned the word minutes. We are at 23:02:03:04 minute second mark, and once again artillery strike by our American player on the medium munition point by those 2 buildings near the center of the map does not seem to be paying off. Veterancy level 2 defensive for our light AT half-track seems to be more than enough to keep it alive against that M10 as well as the subsequent Sherman. Now into the into the P player's base, probably getting repaired anytime now. Having used already his it's a Threadbreaker ability on the M10. The M10 is immobilized. And forget what I was saying about the Marder 3s. Since I'm viewing from the perspective of the P player, I also have an indication of his of what his call-ins and what his abilities is, and he seems, or she seems, to have researched the Panther Battlegroup. 1,000 manpower for 2 Panthers is more than enough to deal with the M4 Sherman and the M10 tank destroyer. And not only that, it's also the fact that any other AT that the US player can field is, of course, the Rangers. Now, Rangers can be, a double-edged sword against the Panthers, either, hitting them from the rear and causing some damage, or trying to penetrate their front and doing nothing. So there you go. P player finally has spotted the observation post in the west of the map, tries to take it down. That's a good move. Victory point wise, let's go back and take a look at that. 441 for our P player, 259 for the American player. So the American player does seem to be feeling the pressure of the victory points, as well as the pressure of having lost 2 of his 4 initial rifleman squads to the G43s and the Foxfire of the P player's infantry. However, he is still, of course, in the game. The P player seems to be saving up resources for those 2 Panthers, and if those 2 Panthers are effective against the M10s and the Sherman, the P player will be in a very good spot, having almost a large number of his initial Pigren squads. Actually, she lost 1 in the process. But the remaining ones do have veterancy. One of them at level 2 offensive, the other 2 at level 1 offensive. More than clear what type of veterancy the P player favors. Which kind of standard. You usually get offensive veterancy on your G43s and defensive on your MP44 equipped Pigrans, because the first, can deal their damage from long range. The other ones really have to get up close in order to be effective, so you need